Chennedy Carter is officially a free agent. There were rumors about the Sky not extending her an offer, but I never made videos about it because I didn't think the Sky would be crazy enough to not do it. Chicago Sun-Time reporter Annie Costabia was probably loving this. She got a lot of criticism for suggesting that the Sky would not bring back Chennedy Carter, and ended up being right. We'll never know who in the Sky organization tipped her off, but it's definitely an interesting situation. I don't care if Chennedy Carter is a controversial figure, this is a massive fumble for the Chicago Sky. Chennedy Carter has a reputation of being a locker room killer, but outside of Atlanta where she got into an altercation with Courtney Williams, I think it's an over-exaggerated talking point. I could care less about her being frustrated and angry in Los Angeles. The Derek Fisher Los Angeles era was a complete circus. If you look at the 2022 roster, almost the entire team doesn't play for the Sparks anymore. And the year before that, Candace Parker left free agency, a big part being because she clashed with Derek. With the amount of people who had issues with the Sparks around this time, Chennedy is nothing more than a scapegoat. The only indication of Carter being a locker room problem in Chicago is think pieces with anonymous inside sources. Annie Obstacle is just reporting what she's hearing, so I'm not attacking her. But it's clear someone in the Chicago Sky organization wants no parts of Chennedy Carter. And as far as talking about players making layups, where's the lie? There's absolutely no excuse for a professional athlete to not be able to convert layups at a high rate. The missed layup epidemic could be a video in itself. I'm not saying Chennedy is some saint who has never done anything wrong. I do think she needs to control and handle her emotions better. But 2 of the 3 teams she's played for were dysfunctional. And she hasn't had any issues during her time in China. She even got an Emotional Growth Award in the China League. There's 3 massive issues with Chennedy Carter leaving. The irony in the Sky wanting to attract more free agents is that Chennedy loved being in Chicago. She said it was the best time she had in the WNBA. When you're in a market where it's hard to get players to play in, you have to do everything you can to retain the players that would be willing to be there long term. Courtney Williams and Alana Smith left the Sky for the Lynx last season, who, by the way, were pivotal to the Lynx getting to the championship series. Candace Parker and Courtney Vandersloot won a championship and still left. Carter likely would have stayed long term. I feel bad for whoever gets drafted by Chicago because their transition to the W just got a lot harder. Let's say they take Sonia Citron, for example. She's played her entire career alongside a guard who is an elite facilitator while also having a bulk of the scoring load. She's the type of player who wants to play off the ball and take quality shots. Unless they get some unexpected major free agent, Citron would have to be the primary perimeter scoring option for Chicago. That would be a disaster. The story is the same with any guard they would try to draft. They don't have an elite perimeter scorer to take the pressure off of them, which means they will see the other team's best wing defender, and will be near the top of the scouting report. I was working on a mock draft, but I'm heavily considering adjusting it, because I'd be surprised if Chicago would make the same choices they would make if Chennedy Carter was still on the team. Personally, I wouldn't do this at all, but it would not shock me at all if they draft Haley Van Lith. She's marketable, and on the surface, she's putting up great scoring and point guard numbers. She's playing with a 6'7" big right now, so maybe Chicago thinks she would work great with Cardoso. It also helps that Angel Reese is very supportive of her. It's something the Chicago GM could potentially justify. The third issue with Carter's departure, which scares me the most, is that the Sky do not own the rights to their 2026 draft pick. And the team that does is the Minnesota Lynx. That means if the Sky suck next year, the Lynx will be able to get a high-profile player. I don't want Tanaya Latson or Flau'jae anywhere near Cheryl Reeve. Flau'jae is the type of player who could be the face of a franchise. She needs to go to a team that will embrace her and make her the focus of the offense. If she went to Minnesota, who is in win-now mode, they would try to mold her into a role player to fit their needs. It would be the same issue with Latson. She's a high-volume and efficient scorer. She needs to be on a team that actually needs this type of skill set, like the Mystics or Valkyries, not a team that already has their top scorers established. Diamond Miller had a promising rookie season, but was in the doghouse her second year because she doesn't fit the Lynx timeline. If you want to say Diamond Miller's the problem, look no further than Sika Kone. As soon as she got away from Cheryl Reeve, she looked 100 times better. Obviously, Latson and Flau'jae are better prospects than those two, but it would still be a similar issue. Lauren Betts would be a good fit for the Lynx, and I think she would do well there. But that would be horrible for the competitive balance of the league. There's some teams that badly need star power, and Lynx aren't one of them. I think Chicago is going to F around and find out. They are probably under the assumption that no one will want Chennedy Carter, which is why they didn't bother to trade her. But I think that will get proven wrong rather quickly. I remember there was a similar dialogue around Skylar Diggins when she had the fallout with the Phoenix Mercury. But that didn't stop Seattle from signing her to a 2-year deal. There's 4 places that I think would like Chennedy Carter's services, and I'll go in order of probability. Brittany Griner is testing free agency, and it's very possible Diana Taurasi will retire. If that happens, they are going to want to take a swing to still be competitive. They didn't pay their coach $1 million to have a repeat of last season. I think a backcourt of Natasha Cloud, Copper, and Carter would be extremely dangerous. They would be able to play a much faster pace without BG and Diana anchoring them down. Copper and Carter would be impossible to stop, especially when you pair them with one of the most elite passers in Natasha Cloud. It would be an electric fun backcourt to watch, and as long as they get serviceable posts, that can be a title contending team. The Aces in Seattle kind of go hand in hand. Jewel Lloyd supposedly wants to go to Las Vegas. A straight-up Plum and Lloyd trade would be an awful deal for the Aces. At this point in her career, Jewel is a clear downgrade for Kelsey Plum. Let's say instead the Aces don't trade for Jewel, but get some quality depth pieces for Kelsey Plum. Chennedy Carter would be the perfect replacement. Just like the Mercury, a backcourt of Young, Chelsea Gray, and Carter would be completely unstoppable. And a major difference between this and the Mercury is that the Aces have Asia Wilson. It's also possible that Becky Hammon brings on Teaspoon, who has a good relationship with Chennedy Carter. If there's any team that should take a chance on Chennedy Carter, it's the Aces. If that happens, they are instantly my pick to win the 2025 championship. No one is stopping that, and nothing helps people get along more than winning. In Seattle's case, it depends on what they end up getting for Jewel Lloyd. Obviously, if they fleece Kelsey Plum from the Aces, they won't be in the market for Carter. But if they don't, Chennedy is far and away the best perimeter scorer in the market, and would even be an upgrade from Jewel. The Mystics are an interesting case. It depends if they want to commit to the tank, or if they still want to try to win as many games as possible. Brittany Sykes said she liked playing with Chennedy Carter, so it's possible she tries to recruit her. She could bring a lot of value to the Mystics. There's not a team outside of the new expansion team that's starving more for an elite perimeter scorer. Ariel Atkins is good, but she's not on that Chennedy Carter, Kelsey Mitchell type tier. That's it for this video. Where do you believe Chennedy Carter will end up? Do you think she'll end up on a title contender? Or do you believe teams won't be interested in her services? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I apologize for the slow rollout of uploads lately. There will be a lot more videos next week and in February. As always, thanks for watching.